When empires fall, civil war can't be too far behind, even way out on the hinterlands, out in the district of the Decapolis. There's more than one guy that thinks he knows how to run the show. Wargamius was the king of Hippos, and he did a really terrible job protecting his cities. So when he died, Wargamius III ascended a very troubled throne and was immediately overthrown by the usurper. He fled over to Damascus, and the usurper was a member of the Canathan technocracy. And last year, things did not go well for either side. They went a little better for the rebellion. The Canathan Republic now controls 6 of the 10 cities of the Decapolis: Hippos, Scythopolis, Pella, Gerasa, Philadelphia, and Canatha. As I said, Canatha is the seat, and Damascus is the seat of power of the loyalists who want to retake Hippos and put the emperor, king. The emperor is over in Kaisan. It's on an entirely different planet. This is contemporary technology, basically to what we have, maybe a little bit more advanced. The problem that the loyalists have is that the Imperial forces that remain, high-tech, aircraft, that kind of thing, they are loyal to the usurper, so things haven't been going well for them. Now, the good news for the Wargamius III is that he is rich. I can't relate to that, but he's got a pretty impressive war chest. As we turn our attention to the year 2952, the rebellion is 7,000 short. They had to put a whole bunch of stuff in hock. They're doing a booming business in the what do you call those things? The consignment shops and the collateral stores. I can't think of what they're called. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. They're doing really good business there, and that means that whatever income the rebellion has, the first 7,000 credits has to go to pay off this debt. If you don't keep the bankers happy, you're not going to win a war. That's generally how things work. So there's one tribe that's really happy about this war because they're doing really well. So we got to go through this again. And as I said, Philadelphia has now moved from the loyalist column to the rebellious column. And this is the number of companies that each side can recruit this year. A maximum of 25 for the rebels and 21. Well, maybe we have to go through our standard practice. And it gets a little more complicated this year. I've already gone through the rule book and written down what our checklist is. And we got to roll some dice. Remember that as things get ugly out here on the frontier, all of the people who, were perfectly happy to take advantage of the locals, they're going to head back to the capital. The system. This is like the end of the British Empire, right? The Raj is falling apart, and so now all of the people who had colonized the area, all of those people who were not Indian but were from India, are bailing out, and they're headed back to London, where all the movers and shakers are. And then, boy, their great grandkids are going to have to deal with I'm not even going to go there. We're not going to do that. We're doing a fun little Fall of the Empire campaign that could be used to generate battles that are perfectly suitable for Hellfire by Jim Webster. Wait a minute, but this is Hellfire in the End of Empire. Yeah, that's right. I'm just playing the campaign version of this tactical game. You could, if you had the time and inclination, play out. I mean, we've gotten through like 10 battles so far. Now, I'm just kind of making my own individual battles combat resolution tables, kind of letting the dice decide, letting the dice tell the story, in much the same way that happens here in the logistical part, where we say, hey, does the capital city of Hippo shrink on a 1 or a 2? It does. It does not. Now I have to roll for each of these 3 cities: Gadara, Pella, and Philadelphia. Those are, of course, our financial districts, and it's a 1 in 6 chance that Gadara and Pella shrink. But Philadelphia was the scene of some pretty heavy fighting. So a lot of refugees, a lot of asylum seekers, not asylum seekers, right? You're not an asylum seeker if you leave one part of an empire and go to the other, which technically we're still part of the Kaisan Empire. They just don't have the Imperial naval forces to come and deal with local troubles like we're having here. So it's going to be on a 1 or a 1 and a 1 or a 2 Philadelphia. So if I get a nope, so does Pella shrink and does Philadelphia shrink? Wow, that strobe light is kind of obnoxious. Nope. Okay, then we have to check Scythopolis, Dion, and Canatha. None of these were part, and these are our industrial cities. None of them had any fighting, so it's just a 1-1 or a 1. Does everybody shrink? Nope. What about Dion? Nope. What about Kanatha? Nope. Everybody's happy. And then again for our arts and entertainment districts of Rafana and Garasa. Looking for a 1, looking for a 1, nope. And then on a 1 or a 2, Damascus will shrink as well. So Damascus does reduce by 1. This process halts, by the way, when a city reaches half size. And that is really unfortunate for the loyalists because Damascus is now going to fall to 5. It can only lose 1 more population before none of these. Damascus is a Damascus. No, it's not. It's an art town. I don't know what I was thinking there. And interestingly enough, I have 3 of each: industry, art, and finance. And then I have 1 government, which is kind of appropriate. So that means that the total size, the total population of the loyalists is only 47. And now we only have of our expeditionary forces, because there's only 5, we've got 3 and 2. Oh, I did the math wrong there. So because we only have 3, and I even did it wrong there again. So that's militia. We have 2 expeditionary forces and 3 militia. So we have a total of 17 available. We can only recruit 17 companies of regular soldiers this year. Now, the people can keep making babies, and the babies keep growing up into fine, strapping, young 18-year-old dopes that are perfectly happy to go on military adventures. They're probably enjoying this right now. What it means for us is that's the limit of what we can recruit. I don't, it's hard to say that I'm fudging these rules because they are really more guidelines and like kind of guiding you along the way of running one of these. Right. So what that means is that the loyalists are going to make a total of 94 kilocredits this year. Their tax base is 94. And what do they got to spend that on? Well, they're going to lose 4,000 credits right off the bat because their existing military costs 98,000. So that means that their reserve will immediately go down to 175. 500. So that's the amount that they have left over. And now you see again why I tried to save as much money as possible. For the rebels, they don't gain any. They have 54, so they're going to wind up making 108 kilocredits on the year. And they have to pay 95,000 for their military and 7,000 for the reserve. So you add those 2 numbers together, and they are going to wind up with a total reserve of 6,000 credits. Now, why is that important? Because of the next thing we have to do. Oh, shoot, you know what? I forgot. The loyalists lose 5 income. So their total income is actually going to be 42. They have the population, but Damascus counts for none of it. So their income is going to be, let's say 5 income means this goes down from 94 to 84. And so that means they're going to wind up losing another 5,000 credits. Did I do the math right on that? I did. Go me. The next thing we check, so that's kind of the financials, but what are they going to spend it on? It depends. They may need to pay off some more raiders. But before we do, I need to find out if the Imperial forces get withdrawn. This can only hurt the rebellion. There is a 1 in 3 chance that happens. I got a 2, so it does. But because these guys have been in town for 8 to 10 years, they have, met some local women, they've married some, they probably have, 5, 6-year-old kids, so they don't want to leave. So a lot of these guys are going to stay. So what I do is I roll a d6. Well, first I have to identify which unit is going to be withdrawn. There are 3 units. There is an artillery battery, there is a support battery, and there is an aircraft squadron. All of these guys are working with the rebels. Ooh, so the rebels may get a little bit of money back here too. So the first thing I'm going to do is a roll, and it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's how I determine which unit gets called home. So it's a 5, 6. The aircraft squadrons get called home. Then I roll a d6. And on a 1, no, they all decide that they're going to stay. So what that means is that the aircraft squadron, based out of Hippos, now moves up into the full rebel company. They're not going to leave. Aircraft squadron. And they're going to be based out of Hippos. And that's important moving forward. It's actually there's like 3 attack craft, okay? That's important moving forward because of the kind of unpredictability that we've seen so far. If this civil war gets determined, if somehow Wargamius III is able to take control of all 6 cities, including Hippos, then these guys will be loyal to him. There's no chance that they're going to leave anymore. As I rolled to see if people leave, it's the artillery battery and support battalion, and those are the only 2 that can leave now. So that's kind of interesting. Now, it doesn't save him any money because that's still 3,000 kilo credits. But, you know, if I had rolled the big 6, then the aircraft would be taken off the board, and that's a huge advantage that they would have lost. Didn't pan out that way, so good for the rebels. And speaking as a man who lives in a country that was born, it was quickened of an empire, and it went through the birthing pangs of a country through rebellion, I can't really say that I'm too disappointed if the rebellion wins this one. However, before they can win, they have to see to it that their leader survives. And there is a 1 in 20 chance that Wargamius III dies. It's a 1, okay? I always roll for the low. Now, what about the usurper? And on an 8, he does not die either. So that is their 2nd year for both of them. When we hit our 5th year, then it becomes a 1 in 10 chance. Okay, so that's a big no on both of those. So the aircraft stay. They got their orders, and they have gone full rebellion. They thumb their nose at the Emperor, and the Emperor, knowing that the Emperor doesn't have a navy or any forces that can come retrieve them. He's got his own rebellion he's dealing with. He's got his own rival empires out there somewhere in space that he's got to deal with. The last thing we have to check in on is the neighbors. How many barbarian tribes are going to raid our area? 6. Okay, maybe not 6. There are 6 chances that a barbarian tribe starts getting a little uppity out there. Macha, Popular Front, Wheelian Supremacy, Puka, Tilian Republic, and the Grey Horde are our potentials. But remember, because we completely blasted the Popular Front and the Tilian Republic, they're not available for a couple of more years. I think it's 4 years and 2 years, doesn't matter. So I'm going to roll for 6 raiders, and every Popular Front and Tilian Republic that shows up, we're just going to ignore them. They probably would have, except that they learned their lesson that a dying and wounded kingdom still packs a pretty impressive wallop. So what I got to do is roll 6 times, and to do that, why don't I go ahead and, well, I'm going to roll these dice, but it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I will ignore all 2s and all 5s. So here's my first 4, and I got a pair of 1s. So the Machans are coming at us, the Wheelians are coming at us, and I got to roll 2 more times. Again, ignoring 2s and 5s. I get a 3 and I get a 4. So that's 3 forces of the Wheelians, 1 Puka. All of these guys are going to be hitting us pretty hard. I've written down for the Machans, Wheelians, and Puka whether or not they have a new head of state. For the Machans, there is a 1 in 6 chance. They are wildly politically unstable. On a 1, they ain't coming out. Well, they are. Okay, what about the Wheelians? The Wheelian Supremacy is a 1 in 10 chance that we get out of jail free. And that's a 9. You know, I'm a little disappointed. We got all 6, man. We didn't roll a single 2. We didn't roll a single 5. This is a little bit ridiculous. What about the Puka? The Puka are a D6. So on a 1, the Puka beg off. Yeah, the Puka have said, you know what? No, thank you. So we only have 5 forces that are coming at us this time. We have to find out what those forces are up to. For the Macha, I have to roll twice. And let's see what these guys are doing. Well, wait a minute. Do I roll twice? Once for each force, or do I roll once for each country? I think I roll once for each. The Macha, I roll a d6, and they go to raid, take a city, be bought off, or serve as paid allies. Let's find out. I roll a 5, and that means that the Macha will serve as paid allies if we want them to. The Wheelians will, the Wheelian Supremacy, serve as paid allies. If you want to take them up, you get the normal force, diced up and random, pay 600, you paid in advance. The offer's there. If you don't take it up, nothing happens. So 2952 is uneventful from the perspective of, or is it? Where's the Macha? The Macha are over here, and the Wheelians are over here. I tell you what I'm going to do. I still have to generate these forces, because this may be the godsend that the Loyalists have been looking for. For the Macha, I roll a d8 for each of these forces. Basically, 2 generals have come to me. So this guy has 2 infantry companies, and the other one has 2 infantry companies. And then they have 1 mounted unit for every +1 mounted. +1 mounted. So for 1,800 credits, I can purchase each one of these. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, okay. Either side can do that. We could see Macha fighting Macha. For the Wheelian Supremacy, is there 1 artillery battery per mounted unit? So that's, +1 arty. +arty. Okay. So that's actually going to be 2,400. So this could be really interesting for both teams. Remember the Machans were paid off last time? And so I think maybe we need to decide who each of these guys offered to. But before we do, let's go ahead and figure out the Wheelian Supremacy. How large are their forces that they've offered? Infantry, a unit will have 8. Wait, is that right? Forces. Yeah, normal. Oh, it's d6 plus 2 infantry. So I got to roll 3 times. So it's going to be 4, 7, and 3. So 3, 4, and 7 infantry. 3, 4, and 7 infantry. And then good old Jim Webster gives us a ratio here. 1 artillery battery for every 3 units and 1 tank company. Okay, so that's +1 arty plus 1 tank company. And then this is going to be +1 arty, and this will be +2 arty plus 2 tank companies, +1 tank. And then for every one of those, so it's going to be 5. This will be 3,000 to hire these guys. It'll be, so there's 6, that'll be 3,600 credits to hire them. And then this one may be prohibitively expensive. There's 11 companies in there, so that's going to be 6,600 credits. Okay, then these guys, we have to decide who do they offer to. And to figure that out, I'm just going to roll, I haven't used a 12 yet. I'm going to roll a d12, and on an even number, it'll be the Loyalists. On an odd number, it'll be the Rebellion. I'm going to roll 5 times, just right down the line. So even for Loyalists. So odd and even. So these guys are going to go to the, odd is for the Rebellion. Although they're the same, so it doesn't really matter. RL, and then even is for the Loyalists. This one says we'll fight for the Rebellion, and the Big Mamma Jamma says we'll fight for the, even was for the Loyalists. Okay. Now remember, the Rebellion doesn't have a whole lot of money, and all of this is going to be about trying to take cities away from your rival. So that's the next question that we have to offer here, is what is going to be the primary order of the day? And I think that the big deal here is going to be the Kanathans trying to take Rafana, and do we take Dion to choke off Damascus completely? I think so. I think that's going to be their, now that I think about it, let's do it this way. So this is our barbarians. This is who they've offered to. Remember that our rebels only have 6,000 credits. They may decide to spend some of that money generating some regular forces, or they may hire some of these guys. Okay, the Loyalists have lots of money. They're going to hire a lot of these guys. This is how they're going to try to retake cities. But I'm going to do things in the William Sylvester way. I'm going to come up with 3 strategies for the rebels. And I'm going to write these down. So I've got 3 strategies for the rebels, 1, 2, 3. And I've got 3 strategies for the Loyalists, 1, 2, 3. Let me decide on what those 3 strategies are going to be. And generally, again, this is very similar to some advice that Jim Webster gives you in Hellfire campaigns, where he says, roll a d6, and on a 1, things get really good, and on a 6, they get really bad, and, so on down the line. William Sylvester in the Solo Wargaming Guide says, if you're not sure what to do, generate 3 strategies, because this gives us 9 different possibilities for the way this conflict can play out. And you look at it from the perspective of the rebels. If they want to be hyper-aggressive, then what they can do is, well, first of all, because they're running low on cash, maybe they go full defense. Maybe they go light offense, or maybe they go full offense. That's kind of the 3 breaks that they might have. So then maybe they don't attack anybody. There's 4 cities here, and they're now going to win the war of attrition. They're making more money over time. So maybe what we do is we say they're just going to go full defense. What they're going to do is they'll hire, because they're going to make a lot more money next year, it looks like. Let's say they hire, we'll spend the 2,400, right? Hire Machins and go full defense. And the middle brow will be to hire the Machins. Let's see, maybe they hire hire Macha, and their offensive power is going to be let's just whittle them down a little at a time. Gadara is the next, is right here. Let's see if we can take this whole river valley. Hire Macha, attack Gadara. That's what I said. So we're only attacking one city. And I could even say attack Gadara, or maybe we attack Rafana to cut them off, because that's going to give me another possibility. We'll call it 50-50, right? 50% chance of that, 50% chance of that. And then for third, it's going to be you hire their own troops, like raise troops, and they're going to attack 2 cities. And it's going to be Gadara, Rafana, 1, 2, and 3, right? Gadara, Rafana, and Damascus. Attack 2 cities. That's going to be, and I don't know what troops we're going to raise yet until I know what 2 cities we want to attack. Right? The next one is going to be for the Loyalists. What are the Loyalists going to do? Well, they've got all of their money. So their like defensive strategy is going to be just go nice and easy, just go full attack on Kanatha. We got to try to take something back. So full attack Kanatha, and I think we hire the Wheelians, hire the big dollar, that's these Wheelians, the 6,600, right? So that's full attack just on Kanatha. That's the limited punching back, right? Because then we can go 5-on-5 again. Then for their like all-out attack, we're going to try to take Kanatha and Philadelphia. So attack Kanatha with our troops. And, well, let's see. No, I guess maybe the like easy way to do this is just to say, let's just say we'll attack. We're going to attack. Let's see. We'll full attack Kanatha, just to try to take Kanatha. And that might negate the advantage that the rebels have when it comes to those energy weapons, okay? So then here we'll go attack 2 cities. And when I say 2 cities, because we have these 4 cities are viable targets, okay? So we'll attack 2 cities. And then with this one, we're going to attack 2 cities. But in the first case, it's going to be hire both Wheelians. And in the second case, it's going to be attack 2 cities. And we'll hire the expensive... Oh, do we want to hire the Machins instead? In this case, we'll keep it interesting. We'll hire the Machin, and we will raise our own Air Force. Okay? Sound good? I think that sounds pretty good. Like, hire Machins, we're attacking 2 cities, and then we'll use the Air Force and our boys to attack the other city. Right? There you go. So now we have, like, lots of possibilities. Wildly unpredictable. Who knows what's going to happen? Only the dice can say. And so we roll for the rebels first. What is your strategy going to be? And I wrote them all out first so that I wouldn't be influenced by, well, I know what they're doing, so now I can decide what the other guys are doing. And in a matter of just like 3 dice rolls, I've got like 40 different possibilities. Very interesting to see what happens next. So on a 1, 2, this is, and I wrote this wrong, right? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the way the real chart goes. So this is going to be the strategy for the rebels, and they're going to attack. They're going to hire the Machins, and they're going to attack either Gadara or Rafana. On a 1, 2, or 3, it's Gadara. Yep, so they're attacking Gadara now. So they're going to hire the cheap Machins, and they're going to attack Gadara, which will reduce the Loyalists to just 3 cities this year. Meanwhile, the Loyalists are going to attack 2 cities. They're going to hire both Wheelians, so that's going to be expensive. That'll be one of the attacks. They'll have to send a support company along to secure that city. Which city are they going to attack? So this is our hire both Wheelians, and now we have to choose 2 of the cities, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Hippos, so Gerasa and Kanatha. So we're going to attack Gerasa and Kanatha. And now to see what really happens, because this is where things get even more interesting. Remember that nothing happens in January, February. Then we roll a d6 and we add 2, and that's the month that the Gadara attack happens. 3, so January, February, March, April, May. So that's in May. In May. Blitz attack. Before anybody could understand what was happening, the rebels are going to attack Gadara. Then Gerasa and Kanatha get attacked in late and late. So Gerasa gets attacked in September, and Kanatha, the plan is to attack in the last month in October. But long before that happens, Gadara gets attacked. So what that means for us is that we in our next episode, I'm not going to do it this episode, but whatever defenders we throw at Gadara will not be available for these 2 attacks. We may have to take a look and go, oh, geez, you know what? Maybe we're only going to do the 1 attack on Kanatha. We would really like to score that coup of destroying the Imperial seat of not the Imperial seat, but the government seat of these Kanathan usurpers and traitors and rebels. But if the battle for Gadara goes particularly poorly, we won't have anybody left to attack Kanatha, which may be why we decided to hire both of these Wheelians. So that's going to be a total of 9,600 credits. We turn our attention back to the logistics of who hires what. And it occurs to me as I work out the rebels' relatively simple finances. See, they had 6,000 credits, they spent 2,400, they end with 36, but they don't, because I haven't been doing this right. Remember last year, they actually called up the Kanathan defense, the militia for defense. That was, when you do that, you have to pay them like this for raising the militia, but I think those guys had already fought. Like, I haven't been tracking who gets raised. So the way I'm going to work this is when you call on the militia to defend the city, you got to pay them. And as I recall, and I actually, this is my rough notes from last time. Whoops, I know you can't read that. The loyalists, actually the Kanathans, had to call up 3 and 4. So the home defense militia would have cost them 600. And these guys would have cost them 9. That would have been another 1,500 that they had to spend, which means they're down to 2,100. And that's important because this is now their war chest for militia. When the loyalists attack, then that's all they're going to have. They're only going to be able to call up so many expeditionary and militia forces. But the same thing is true on the other side. I need to hammer a little bit more money, chip, I should say, a little bit more money off of the loyalists, because the failed battle, the failed defense of Philadelphia would have been 5 and 5, and it's 150 credits for each home defense militia. That's 750. It's 300 for each expeditionary. That's another 1,500. That means I got to knock another 2,250 off of this reserve. 160. Oh boy, now we're getting down to it, right? 2,250. This is going to be like 167,450. And then they also tried to defend Damascus, so we had 3 and 3, so that's another 459, another 1,350, which takes this down to that would be 100, and that was 7. That's going to be 166. So 166, 100 credits. So 166,000.1 kilocredits. And that's where the loyalists start the year. I've already said that they're going to hire a bunch of barbarians to fight for them. They are going to wind up hiring quite a bit. They're going to spend 9,600. So this is the rebels. And the loyalists are going to add a little bit to their order of battle. They start out with, as I said, 166,100 credits. And they're going to hire for, we said, 3,000. Hire for 3,000. And they're going to hire for 6,600. That's those Wheelians. And then they're going to raise an Air Force. And I guess that's why they were waiting for the end of the year, because they want to give these. It takes a long time to build planes. It takes a long time to train pilots. So that's where they're at. Now, hiring an Air Force is pretty pricey. As you can see here, aircraft squadron, counting as 3 planes, costs 18 grand right off the bat, and then every month, so it's another 30 grand. Just wow, ooh, is that right? 3,000 a month, 30 grand. I don't think I've been charging the. I don't know if I've been charging the right amount of money for those. Well, that's the monthly cost. Yeah, no, I have. I totally have. It's just that they're really expensive. So that's going to cost 18,000 to raise it. All right. So this is really going to affect our finances for these guys. That's really all I can do, because it's going to add another $30,000 to the cost of the military. But it is going to negate the Air Force that the rebels have. And hey, if we win, maybe we just disband one of these. But that's it. That's all we're spending. And that means, so that means I'm going to have to add another 30,000 credits to keep that operation, the aircraft running for the year. So that Air Force squadron is actually going to set me back 48,000 plus this 96 is going to be a total, let's see, 48. Yeah, 30. That. Plus this is going to set me back 48, 57,600, and that means my end reserve is going to be, we're going big, guys. We're going big this year. Is going to be 166 minus 57 is going to be no, oh boy, I'm doing math on the fly again. Always dangerous. 109. Nope, 108. 500. Hey, that's right. We got 108,000. So we add those aircraft. So we have one squadron aircraft. And here's one squadron aircraft. And here's the loyalists. And that's going to be another 3,000 credits a month, which raises this to 129. And this goes to 129, 800 credits. Wait, did I get that right? 129.8, 129.8. Yep, per year. Holy cow. That should be 129.80. There we go. You get the idea. I got my decimals off a little bit here because I struggle with metric. I'm an American. What can I say? So that means we still got the 2 battalions of regular infantry. Probably might have been a little bit better to buy 2 more battalions of regular infantry when we go on the attack, because this is, these guys are really efficient. But that's what the year 2952 is going to look like. In our next episode, we'll run through the battles, which are going to be fascinating. We'll do the same kind of thing, CRTs, and maybe we'll take a look at 2953, but it depends on how long it takes us to decide what happens. Because remember, we do still have some if-thens. We know about the attacks, and we know 2 things are going to happen. The rebels are going to attack Gadara, and then the loyalists will attack Garasa. And then maybe in October, if things go well for the loyalists, they'll attack Kanatha. Now, one thing I should point out is that if I had gotten into a situation where we had a couple of nearby cities that were being attacked in the same month, those armies would meet in the open field. So if we had a situation, this didn't happen, but if we had a situation where I rolled the dice and it was, we're going to try to take Philadelphia, and even maybe a month or 2 in either way, in June, and then in July, the rebels were going to try to take Gadara, then I would just roll a 50-50 chance. No, you know what? It turns out in June, those 2 armies are going to meet here in the middle with the victor rolling through to attack the expeditionary force. So we have some interesting things to work out, and it's a really complicated situation, which is why I think this kind of thing is like a slow motion opening of a Christmas present or a birthday present. It's full of surprises. You never know what you're going to get. I never would have predicted that things had gone so poorly for the Loyalists, and if they continue to go so poorly, if we don't get some barbarians, this could have gone the other direction. If all of our Wheelians had decided, no, we're going to try to take a city, then the rebels would have been facing Wheelians coming from the south and the Loyalists coming from this direction. And you could even have the Mockins coming in and trying to take a city. I think giving us this 1 year to just work out what happens is going to burn off a lot of resources and hurt whoever wins. That everybody loses, because this trying to fight this civil war when the barbarians are pressing in on you, not great for the long-term planning, not great for the long-term prospects for the Decapolis. I could definitely see this becoming like almost a rump state for one of these outlying, maybe not the Grey Horde, those guys are pretty pathetic, but the Tillians or the Wheelians or maybe even the Popular Front, they could wind up taking 3 or 4 cities, and then our little kingdom becomes Dion, just one little like city-state on the coast. Fiercely maintains its independence, but there is no chance that we're going to rise to become like... I have already kind of given up on the hope of becoming the Charlemagne of Gaul, of the Decapolitan Gaul. But that's all right, because we're still generating conflict, we're still shoving armies around a map, and that's what wargaming is all about. Until next time, I'm praying for you.